Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 in season 2 of the HONESTea. My name is 𝗖𝗵𝗽𝗀, and we get together every week on a Tuesday to spill some tea. And it is all about honesty and authenticity. And in this particular season, we are also talking about all of the prosperity. So thank you so much for being here. I wanted to extend, what we spoke about yesterday. Yesterday. It wasn't actually yesterday I recorded. It was actually last week. What we spoke about last week, which was around set points, and how we can expand our upper set point, but if we don't also move the lower set point, that's why we might end up reverting back to our old ways. So you might earn more money, but you might not be able to keep the money, and that's why people win lotto and then end up back where they were, and why you might lose weight but then end up putting it back on again, or you might be in a relationship but you can't seem to keep a good relationship, or you can't seem to maintain a good relationship. And so what I've realized as I've been talking to people about this subject is that there's more to the story that I've really needed to expand into. So expand my container around this podcast. And what that is around is, a couple of things. One is that, I've been asked, what is it? How do you know when that you haven't expanded your container, that you haven't actually, that you've reached the edge of your expansion, I guess. And so let's have a little bit of a talk about that. And the other thing I probably need to say is that we are also expanding, if you think of it as a whole container. So we're expanding our upper limit, and we also want to at the same time lift, and then we're also expanding this way, and so if you want more, you need to be more. If you don't hear anything else from me today, I want you to get that. If you want more in your life, if you want more abundance, so whether that's monetary for you, or it's abundance of relationship and love and joy and peace, whatever it is for you, if you want more health, then you need to be more. So you are only capable of, just a quick reflection on what your nervous system is capable of holding. So your autonomic nervous system, which is your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, it's what everybody talks about, what that has the capacity to hold. And when we get into the fear zone and we get into that place where it feels uncomfortable, that's when we're unable to expand our set point. And so what happens when we get to the edge of our set point, when we get to the edge of our container, is that we start to get into what can quite often happen is like this combo of fight and flight, which looks like hyperdrive. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who are like this, or people in corporate, a lot of people who have trauma and who have burgeoning careers and who want to do really well. You will see that they get in this hyperdrive and they're really, really super driven. I see a lot of people who are like that, and a lot of people who've had trauma are like that, and I believe everyone's had trauma, but there are a lot of people who are very, very driven to the point where it becomes actually detrimental in a way, so that hyper focus can actually be a beautiful, incredible gift, but if you can't actually stop and smell the roses, then it becomes where it's actually detrimental. And so the action can look like, when you're at the edge of your container, can look like where you're rushing, where you feel overwhelmed, where you start to avoid and you make hasty decisions. You might even numb, you might even pretend it isn't happening. Even, you know, I've had clients where they've suddenly had like, so business owners who've suddenly had some abundance come in, you know, 1, 2, or 3 months, or more like 1 quarter, and it's like the best quarter they've ever had. And then I've had them where they'll go, I just want to go and hide, like it's too much. I don't even know what to do with this much. I've never had this much before. It's freaking me out. That means you're at your set point, right? If you win a whole lot of money and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? I don't even know what to do. I'm totally lost. You're at your set point. If you say, oh my God, yes, I've got all this money. Oh my God, I'm just going to spend it on, you know, and you go kind of crazy with it, you're at your set point. If you get overwhelmed and you just avoid it and pretend it didn't even happen, you're at your set point. And this can be with anything, right? I see this a lot in relationships. So somebody gets a beautiful relationship and it seems like it's going really well, and then suddenly they go, oh, I just, you know, they'll start ghosting them. Why are you doing that? Oh, because I don't know if I'm ready. Oh, it just all seems too good to be true. Oh, it just all seems like it's a bit much. I think they're moving too fast, you know, or all of those kinds of things. So all of those things, when they feel like that, that's an idea that you're getting to your set point. So if you want to expand your container, you need to expand it in your mind, in your heart, and in your body. And that's embodiment. So embodying the bigness, right? So if you want to have more, you need to be more. And you know what I mean by that also is that you need to become the container. So be, do, have, you know, who you be, you know, and we've talked a bit about vibration, what you do. So as in the actions that you take, and I'm talking about aligned action, not crazy overwhelm action, and then will, you know, dictates what you have. So to become the container, to expand your container, to be able to hold what it is that you want to manifest into your life, you need to then think and feel into, if I had this relationship that I really want, if I had this physical wellness that I'm really looking for, this health, this longevity, if I had the abundance, the money that I want to manifest, what would I do with it? What would it look like? How would it feel? So, you know, you need to start to plan for the bigness. So if you want more money and you're thinking that you're going to earn, you know, X number of dollars, well, what's it going to look like when you get there? Have a plan. Be ready so that you feel safe, that when you get there, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do. Ask yourself, what would I do? If I got the money that I'm trying to manifest into my life, what would I do? Well, maybe I would need a financial planner. Maybe I would need an extra bank account. Maybe I would, and I mentioned this last week, I would give more. Right, we'll start to give now. You know, plan for the bigness so that when the bigness comes, you're ready, right? So you heard, I think it's Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. Literally the same kind of situation. So if you want to expand into having more, you need to be more. You need to think about, you need to feel how it would feel in your body, so that if you got the bigness, your nervous system can accept it. You can embody and accept, I've suddenly gotten all of this new wealth and I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. I've planned for it. I've actually gotten educated about money. I understand what I'm going to do with it and I feel good about it. Or I have planned for this relationship. I know exactly what to do. I know that to be, you know, I've spoken, I know exactly how my nervous system normally responds. I'm not going to do that anymore. I've done some healing around relationships. I understand that triggers belong to me and not to the person. I understand what I'm looking for. I'm ready for the abundance of it. I'm ready, maybe you've, figured out all there is to know about love languages. I don't know. For for me, I'll be honest, I was in my wounds in my relationship, and so it was a tough journey. So I'm not saying you can't get there without, you can, but you're better off to do it before. So expand your bigness, figure out what it is. How will you be in a relationship? How will you make space for someone in your life? Maybe you are the kind of person that is very set in their ways, and they've got very set routines. Well, what will that look like for you? What will that look like for you if you're going to have to accept somebody else in your life, and maybe you're going to have to make compromises? Maybe you're going to have to decide that actually it feels good and it feels okay if I don't always make all of the decisions. Or maybe I actually like the idea of making all the decisions, because I usually kind of just go with the flow, and in this relationship I'm going to be more proactive about making my own decisions and using my voice and honoring myself. And so this time around, I'm going to do things differently. What is it going to look like? Whatever it is that you're expanding into, what will it actually mean for you when you expand into that bigness? What will it mean when you have a healthier body? What will that do? Maybe what kinds of decisions will you have to make about your health? Maybe you're going to, if you had this much healthier body, maybe for you it's going to mean that you're going to have to set aside time every 3 times a week or 4 times a week or 5 times a week to exercise. Maybe it means that, and you're not ready for that. Like, you can be honest. If that's something that you're really struggling with, that's your nervous system holding you back, right? Your nervous system is holding you back and saying, I actually like the comfort. And this is what I want you to understand. If your nervous system is holding you back, it's because there's something there that is a payoff. I know that feels really difficult to understand, because people are like, I don't like being poor. There's no payoff. But there is a payoff, okay? There is a payoff, and your nervous system is just trying to keep you safe. And there's a part of you that is like, you know what? It's not what I want. I actually want to have more money, but it is safe here, and I know how to live off what I've got. And and if I had more, what would I lose? So you might lose. You might feel, you might believe, because this is built into our belief systems, right? This is built into our belief system. So I might have a belief, and I think I did used to have this belief actually, that if I was to have abundance, right, I'd have to be seen more, and I wasn't ready to be seen more. I was hiding all of my wounds and all of my trauma, and I didn't want anyone to know. And so I couldn't step into it, right? I couldn't step in. I wanted to, but I knew that I wasn't ready to be seen more for my particular path. That doesn't mean everybody has to get on social media or create a podcast or anything like that. But for me, I knew that's what it would mean for me to actually become who I wanted to be, which was, to coach more, big numbers of people, not just individuals. Then I was going to have to be seen more, and I wasn't ready to do that, and I wasn't ready to talk more about what was going on for me. But when I stepped into that, then I was able to hold more. And so you need to ask yourself, what is it about stepping into this bigness that you are actually afraid of? What are you afraid of might happen? Or what are you holding on to that actually makes you feel safe? So even though it doesn't feel good, it feels safe, if that makes sense. So it might not feel good to always have the money, but it does feel safe because you've done it before. You've done it 100 times. It's easy. There's no problem with it. It feels safe, right? Same with being in a relationship. I know so many people who are single on their own, and they have zero place in their life for anyone else, and they'll say, oh yeah, it would be nice, but you know what, I don't have space for anyone in my life, or I'm actually so good on my own, I really don't need anyone else. And there's nothing bad about that. But if the universe, God, your creator, gives you exactly what you ask for, and if that's a true thing, so there could be a couple of things happening. So I don't have enough space for anyone in my life, I'm really not looking anymore, I just cannot be bothered, means you're going to get exactly that, if that's what you truly believe. Or the other thing is that you're saying that because you want people to believe that's true, because you want to believe that's true, but inside you're like, I really would love to be with someone and I'm actually really struggling with it. You're also pushing it away. But where you can be in a place of, you know what, actually, and really truly believe this, because everything is about the energy of the thought and the practice of the speaking and all of those things. So if you genuinely feel like, you know what, I'm worthy of a beautiful relationship, I really am worthy of a beautiful relationship, and if a beautiful relationship comes along, I will be open to that opportunity. But for right now, I am satisfied where I'm at. Now, if you can be like that about a relationship, that is the place where you will most likely bring someone in. It's like women who have babies, right? I was one of those women, right? I had all these miscarriages. I couldn't have a baby. After my 2 beautiful boys, I, got PCOS and all these things, and I couldn't have a baby. And I just was distraught about it. The doctor said, look, you cannot have any more babies. Your body can't hold babies anymore, etc., etc. And then I was devastated. I bawled my eyes out. And then, my husband said to me, babe, we've got our 2 beautiful boys. We really don't need to have another baby. And I finally just made my peace with that. And I was like, you know what? Okay, it's just not meant to be for me. And I'm so satisfied with my relationship I have now. If we had one, it would be amazing. But, I'm okay with it. And I got pregnant with my baby girl, and for the first time managed to keep her. Now, there were some ups and downs along the way. It wasn't as smooth sailing. But, that baby is 23 now. And she's my absolute blessing. So what I'm saying is, in terms of holding that, it's the capacity to hold and to expand your container to what you're available to hold, to do the planning around holding more of whatever it is that you want, and then being in a place where you can say, I'm ready for it. I've got the bigness. I'm holding on to this container, which I've expanded to a place where I can embody it, where it feels good for me, that I know if I had this money come in, I'd know exactly what to do with it. If my business, grew to this size, I'd know exactly how to manage it. If I got this group of friends into my life that I don't have now, or just this bestie that I don't have now, that I'd know how to turn up and be a good friend. Or if I had that, relationship with my significant other, that I'd know how to be a good partner to them. And if you can expand into those things, that you would know, when I get that body that I'm feeling so good and happy about, and feeling like, my best self in my body, so embodied with it, that I would know how to maintain that beautiful body, and I would do the right things to make my body feel good about itself. When you do that, that's how you hold and expand your container. And the more you do that, the more you're able to expand, and the more you lift, this, what we call this lower set point. We can lift the lower set point, so that we're not accepting of going back to our autonomic nervous system, which is that fight or flight, and that we are expanding into our parasympathetic nervous system, which is that rest and digest. So I feel comfortable, and I feel good, and I feel safe, in this beautiful, abundant relationship that feels good. I feel good and I feel safe and I feel well when I'm earning, you know, even this big money. I don't have to be here to feel safe. I can be here and feel safe. I feel good and I feel safe and I feel well when my body is in this, is healthy and strong and has, you know, if you want to be muscly or whatever, I don't know what you want, has whatever you want, have the hourglass figure, or you have the whatever, I don't know what people call it, but you know, I feel good and I feel strong and I feel right and this feels good for me. And getting out of that. So if you know, really sit and ask yourself, if I was you, write down all the things that you want, you know, and then ask yourself, now, if I had it, am I ready for it? Am I prepared for it? Is my container big enough to hold this? And if it's not, start to prepare for it. What do I need to do to prepare for this abundance, this prosperity that I'm going to bring in my life? And then start to do that. Prepare for whatever you are bringing into your life, whatever it is, you know. Then expect, like maybe you want to manifest some travel, then, you know, start to prepare for the travel. What would that look like? So, and remember, abundance isn't just money, right? So maybe somebody would give you an opportunity to travel that you didn't realize you could do before. Well, what's that going to look like? So prep for the travel that you want to have, so that when it comes in, you're like, yes, I know I've got my passport ready. Maybe you've never even been overseas, so you go and get your passport ready. Maybe you go and get your a suitcase that you know is going to take you anywhere in the world that you want to go. And you know, you kind of understand the visa requirements. If there's a particular country that you want to go to, what would that look like? These are the ways that you expand your container, is to actually understand and know, if I had this, what would I do with it? How would I show up in it? How would I hold that in my container and make it feel good and make it feel safe? Because then you're embodying it. Then your heart and your mind and your body feels in coherence. You're feeling good about it. You're feeling safe about it. And now I can accept it, right? I can accept it into my life. So I realize that I've kind of gone on, and because this is just such an important concept for you to understand, and I really want that for you. So thank you so much for being here. I you know, as always, just want to leave you with this thought, which is you know, my prayer always for you is that you become more of who you were meant to be, and that you heal deeply and you lead boldly and you live fully. And, you know, all of that starts by just starting with one small vote for yourself every day. And I appreciate you more than you will ever know. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with me today. Much love.